your mom sounds a lot like my mom. um,
Yes, right?
yes, absolutely. It's so true, and it's funny because I didn't actually realize that my mother was that way until I got older and I needed to start connecting
Yeah.
with myself more in order to understand
Yeah.
why I made some of the decisions I made and why I was at a certain place in my life and how I could move forward. And it was only then that I began to understand more of like who my mother was and why she was that way. And I actually did end up sort of like having a heart to heart with her about it. I just needed to in order to move forward. But I also learned compassion in that moment from my mother
Mhm.
because my initial
Mhm.
reaction was like, you know, you always told me, don't cry, don't let them see you cry, but sometimes I need to
Right, right.
cry. But then
Exactly.
when I understood, right, like that childhood programming very much influenced why she was that way, it all sort of started to come full
Yeah.
circle.
Yes, I love what you just said about that because um, my mother and when I wanted to figure out, and I say wanted at first, and then I figured out that I needed to figure out, like, but who am I? What do I like? What do I think? What are my values? What's really, truly important to me? There caused some friction between my mother and I. And the more that I surrendered to vulnerability and being authentic, we were able to start slowly but surely having some very transparent and emotionally connected conversations. And what I really received out of that is I knew you as mom or mommy or mother. I knew you as that all my life, but I didn't know Carissa. That's my mom's first name. That's the person that I didn't know.
Hmm.
I didn't know that person. I knew my grandmother as grandmother, and I didn't know her name, like who she was, as her name is Nudie Rose, and I did not know who Nudie Rose was.
Hmm.
And so when I took a step back to really want to get to know more about, my mom, who she was as the woman before she had me, as the woman that she is when she's by herself and she's in her own thoughts and her pain and why she is the way she is and what she went through as a child. And also with my grandmother, I started to see all of these connections, even with myself. And what it did is it caused me to have so much, not only compassion, but just grace and forgiveness. And I wanted to give it. It wasn't even hard to do at that moment. And also, I had to apologize because I think I was just so caught up in how I was feeling that I didn't really look at the entire picture. And that is what vulnerability will do as well. It will really cause you to have clarity and also understand or want to understand from a different perspective.